Good morning. Good morning for this beautiful Sunday. I'll show you my view. So it's sunny. It's about 10 a.m. You probably can't see the depth of the blue. It's just a stunning blue. Anyways, so why I'm doing this live today is because last night I couldn't sleep again, but it wasn't necessarily panic attacks. I had a lot of thoughts, a lot of motivation, a lot of excitement, a lot of so basically I drove down to Fremantle to do a Christmas. I had to focus. I'll just sit somewhere to focus. Actually, I'll turn this down because otherwise YouTube will muffle me. Or they muffle you when if you've got music in the background, they muffle you. If anyone does lives, just beware if you have music in the background, there's copyright issues, and YouTube and Facebook will actually silence or muffle your live because of the music in the background. You can't be copywriting music that's not yours. So basically what's happened is yesterday I drove down to Christmas gathering with my dear friend Tracy. Obviously she invited me a few weeks ago, and obviously I thought it was going to be a beautiful day with my husband and my two cute little dogs and blah, blah, blah. So obviously it was a little bit sad because, you know, blah, 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 the circumstances, Christmas, rah, rah. I invited a few friends and they came. So I got invited two friends from Northern who drove all the way down to Fremantle. And then my good friend builder extraordinaire, Brad, came, and then he came with me after up to Northern, and we're spending another 2 days working on Rocket Street, and I'll walk around and show you what we're going to be doing today. And he gave up his weekend, and he's had to go through a lot of stuff to be here. He had some really fun stuff planned for yesterday and today, and he's given all that up for me because he just wants to help me get the retip finished and the bathroom finished, so I'm over a hump, because he really knows that my mental health will suffer if things drag on. And I'll show you. Basically, we have this bathroom, and what we're going to be doing today, so that's the old veranda, as you know. In here, I've got to pull up the tiles. I've organised a counselling session for him today with my therapist, so that's where he is at the moment. But see, in here, I've got to pull up those tiles and take out the vanity and take out the shower, and then we're going to level all of this with cement up until this plinth here. See how deep it is? So that's my finger there. Okay, so there's the pen. So it's very deep. So we're going to fill all this up with cement, level it, tile it, and then bring the bath back in. And I'll show you the bath. So that means this bathroom, and I'll quickly show you, I've shown you this all before, but maybe you don't see everything. So this is going to be, there's going to be mirrors put behind here, and then that's going to be mirror behind those shelves. It's going to be so nice. That's going to be LED light window. This one will open up to let air in. This one will be permanently shut. Got the little shelves down here, which I've got tiles to put in. So it's going to be really nice. And a light is going up there, and a planter box there, and a planter box there. So this bathroom is going to look really sexy. really sexy. And I like showing you the progress because you'll see it when it's done. You go, whoa! And this is the old deck door that I've shown you before. This is the old deck door that we put in here. And this plinth here and that door frame was the old back door to the veranda, which used to be there, which I've shown you before. And this bit here used to be the back entrance to come through the house to the back veranda. And then here, as I've shown you before, was a window and a door, and that went into the lounge room. Solid. It's just so beautiful. And I will show you again because I just love it so much. This is the new front door. Got that for $50 off Gumtree. Just absolutely amazing, right? And as I've shown you before, so excuse the laundry down the very bottom, excuse the fridge stuff, because my fridge broke. And now I'm using this little dude here. So I'll give the vegetables to the animals. But yeah, that whole wall coming down, it's just transformed the house. It's like a proper country house now. See? With the cute... So we're going to flush the walls in, of course. That beautiful big bearer got put up. Obviously the lino's got to come out, and we're going to sand back the wood, and it's going to look amazing. But that kitchen table transforms the house and just makes it so cozy, because every country kitchen needs a dining table. Would you not agree? So, and I'll show you something else, actually. After, Anthony left last week, I was a bit depressed. And then today, I finally made my bed. And that's my new fresh bed. So before it was maroon and dark. Oh, I can't remember the colours. Sorry. Anyways, maroon and a few different blues and some greens. And now it's like grey and blue, and it's just nice. But today, Brad and I are going to finish off top coating. We've got so many jobs to do, but I love Brad so much. So we're going to do the sanding and top coat of that. Then I can wallpaper this room. When I wallpaper this room is going to be transformed into the new energy. I'm also going to move some furniture from the second bedroom into this room, and I'm going to make 2 organised bedrooms in preparation for when my beloved comes back home and we have 2 separate spaces, which I think is what we should have done from the very beginning. And I urge you all to consider that, no matter how passionate your relationship is, because my husband's and my relationship is very passionate. Like, we have a very healthy sexuality and a very strong sensuality. So we hold each other throughout the night and hold each other's hands, and we love physical contact. But I think that people need their individual alone time whilst they're sleeping as well as during the day. So I think it's imperative that people have some alone time at night as well. And it's like, I think that's for me, I think it's a good way to keep my equilibrium when I'm around another. I've come to ascertain that I lose my equilibrium very quickly when I'm within an intimate relationship. I've been learning a lot this last week, and one of the main things I'm learning is that I subconsciously believed that being married to a man who I've loved for 15 years, a very long time, had this very karmic twin flame sort of magnetism, trauma bond based connection, so very strong pull to this man, and vice versa from him to me. So I really believed that upon us fully committing to each other via the process of marriage, that I would be safe for the first time in my whole life. So what an expectation to put on another. That's an impossible expectation. So that's one thing I've learnt. And last night I couldn't sleep because I came back from driving up from Fremantle, and I was really tired. Like, there was at one point I was doing 80 Ks in 110 K zone. I was like, whoa. I had Brad with me in the car. Like, whoa, you can tell you're tired when you go on like 40 Ks under the limit. Like, well, I better pick up the speed. But anyways, I'd had a really amazing, intense therapy session on Friday. Went for 3 hours, and then I had a friend come over and we did some exercise at Wu Tao, and then after she left, I slept. I slept all afternoon to about 8:30 p.m. on Friday night, and then I woke up just to shuttle the doors, feed the animals, yeah, I made myself a smoothie and then I just went to bed. So I basically slept all Friday afternoon and all Friday night. So processing the counselling session. And then I woke up Saturday feeling very refreshed and excited and rejuvenated and inspired. I kept crashing. I had some grief moments, but it was just a whole new way of being, like this real, like I've transcended. And my therapist said to me, everything, I'm not writing where you are, I'm writing where you were, because you've transcended a step. And I can feel it. Like, I feel deep grief about the processes that have occurred to get my life to where it is now, and, you know, my trauma reactions, trauma responses, and how I got to be where I am now. The mistakes, you call them, the mistakes. But in gentleness, kindness and love, empathy and compassion, putting it in perspective of what it is that I'm actually working with, like underline all the time, until at such time I can acknowledge it and release it, which is, you know, the trauma that's still within me, you know, all that stuff that comes out. I've come to realise, my therapist helped me realise that my therapist, Monique from Song of Heart, who my dear friend Brad is with right now in York, having a counselling session with her right now. Oh, I'm so happy about this. So, yeah, I came to realise that, well, she helped me realise that all of those times when I thought Satan was taking over, or I had a demon possessing me, and I felt like I was losing control and I was scared that I was being possessed by evil, well, I've come to realise that's just my child. It's just my child screaming out in absolute uncontrollable rage, letting this anger and this just an unbridled fury, and then in that, with accepting that what I call the demonic evil side, the monster in me, that monster in me is the child that just needs to feel safe. And I cannot keep relying on others to create for that child in me to feel safe. I can't expect or rely on my husband or my friends, but I can rely on God. So basically what I've been learning is it's okay to be interdependent and codependent, in the sense of being vulnerable with others and sharing our truth with others. However, we cannot be codependent. I cannot be codependent and expectorial on others to actually to regulate my monster. Like, I can't expect them to help me regulate this evil. I have to be very, very honest with this impactful child within me, and really be proactive with telling the truth to people when I really need help. So I had to ask them, so right now I need you to help me, not expect them to know when I need help and to step up. I can't have people looking out for when am I going to flip, or where's this going? I have to say right now, this and that, rah, help me please. And then what I need is for those people to really step up and step in and co-regulate with me. So I've learned about this word called co-regulate. So when I honestly and truthfully declare to someone that I'm being triggered and I'm sinking into something, my responsibility for that is to request the support that I need to co-regulate that, because I do deserve, and we all deserve, and in fact many of us probably need, I know I need, to have others come in and help me, because my child needs to know that she's loved by the community, and that she's accepted by the community, that she's accepted and loved by all, not just me, but by everyone. Like, she needs to feel safe within her tribe and her community. And that's where being honest with telling people what it is I need, and I know what it is I need. When I am going into a trigger of feeling abandoned or not being heard or misunderstood or unappreciated or overwhelmed, what I actually need is to be contained. I need someone to give me containment. Now, sometimes that's a hug. Sometimes it's actually a real caressing hug like a parent would give to a child that's having a moment of terror or a moment of overwhelm or a moment of stress. But other times I feel claustrophobic. And so other times it's just, it's got to be containment with, I have your back, Nadina. I love you and I care about you. And I am here for you completely. Can I get you some water? Or even maybe holding my hand. So that's when I'm feeling claustrophobic, I have to work out what it is that someone can do to help contain me, to bring me out of that very, that child that's just fighting for her life, and she wants to be heard. Like, she wants everyone to know just how scared she is and how hurt she is, and she's screaming and screaming and screaming to be heard. She's demanding to be heard. She's having a panic attack, a sulk, a tantrum. But it's not a tantrum because she's a spoilt brat. It's a tantrum because she's fucking petrified. She's terrified. She's scared out of her. She cannot cope mentally. She is completely not physically, mentally, and spiritually able to cope in that moment. And what she needs to know is that to breathe, and to become very present of the love and the support and the kindness that she has created around her. Just what is really there. Actually see what is really there and realize she created that. From her inner world, she has created an outer world of incredible support and kindness and love, which is what has actually happened in my life. I have actually created a world of so much support, love, and kindness. I have so many amazing friends that step up, like my friend Brad, who has given up a planned, fun weekend with people that he really wanted to spend time with that mean a lot to him, that he's actually let down. He has to say, I'm sorry, I cannot do this commitment with you this weekend because this other friend of mine is in such need and I am prioritising her need. So he's prioritised my need over his needs and my need over these other people's needs. And I said to him, after this weekend, no more. We're going to have a break. You focus on your life. If we can just get over this hump of getting the retic finished so I know the garden's going to be okay. If we could just get the bathroom to a point where I could get the bath back and I could start making the bathroom pretty. I will then start outsourcing other supports in the northern community through like Fresh Start, which is a drug rehabilitation program, and they have their clients do volunteer work within the community. So I can actually get them to do so much work. But I'm not going to have them here while I've got Brad here, because Brad, I've noticed, doesn't really cope when there's too many people around. He's an introvert. So I once had a tradie come in, and I had Brad and this tradie working together when we did the bearer, you know, that massive big, I'll show you again, you know, that massive big bloody bear up there. That's a big bloody bearer, guys, and there's inside the wall. That was just beyond me, right? Brad wanted to do that just with me. I'm like, I can't. With my shoulder injury, I just can't. You need another professional to help you with that. So I brought in a tradie to help him with that job, and it actually resulted in my friend Brad and I having a falling out for a while, because he felt really aggravated by having this other guy there, and he actually got abusive towards me. Like, he got irate, but he was also irate because at the same time, everyone, my beloved, beautiful husband had come back from our separation, but he hadn't declared he was back. No one knew what he was doing. In his head, he thought he was back, but he was here, but then driving back down to Perth. His stuff was still at his niece's house. He hadn't committed to me. He hadn't recommitted. He hadn't said any words. He was coming up to help us out with the house. And in the process of that, he was reconnecting to the house. Because Brad and I made the house really nice over July and August, and we got the house looking good from a disaster zone, we got it looking like a home, and that we did that deliberately to help Anthony feel less stress so he would come back home, which is actually what happened, but he never declared he was back, so no one really knew what was going on. And my friend Brad was so angry with Anthony for the way he treated me, for the way he wasn't honouring me, for the way he wasn't being clear. So there was all these things happening. There was a big blow up, and then we had more and more unpacking, and like good friends do. You have a big blow. It wasn't a horrible blow up. It was just there was a lot of tension, and a lot of certain words got said that just didn't make sense, and it was very tense. So that occurred. We healed that. We're closer, and my relationship, my friendship with Brad is one of the best and closest friendships I've ever had in my life. Same with my friend with Desiree. Same with my friend with Catherine. I have not unlimited. I have an incredible amount of people who really care about me and really love me, and they don't find me boring. That I've still got trauma that I'm working through, and I've come to realise it's because they realise there's a lot there to work through. So I'm started to become more gentle and patient with myself, because I think what a lot of trauma survivors do is we go, should be faster, should be quicker, should deal with this quicker, should have healed this by now. Oh, I should be where that other person is, blah, 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 blah. There's all this comparison, and there's all this should, could, which just puts this pressure on and this despair. And we're looking at what we're not doing, where we are not yet, what we haven't achieved yet. And it puts this guilt in there, and it puts this despair and this overwhelm, and it sort of can debilitate us and make the process take longer, because we're not actually just accepting that we're not actually looking at where we are doing great or what we have achieved or how far we have come. And that is what I have been doing this last week. Actually putting everything in perspective by looking at my outer world. My therapist has helped me see this as well. Looking at what I have created from my outer world and how my outer world is reflecting my inner world. And my inner world is self-love. I have a humongous amount of self-love. I have a humongous amount of self-respect. I have a humongous amount of self-boundaries and self-care and desire. Oh, my darling aunt. Oh, Patty, our mama bear, I love my mama bear so much. And I talked to my mum about something, and you do not know how hard life in Australia was when she left America. You do not know how hard our life in Australia has been, because poor mama bear, poor Linda, she's like, you know, she could be autistic. We don't really know what she is, okay? But what we do know is my mum tried her best. She tried her best, okay? She really tried her best, but she had no support. She had no support because she was in Australia and all her family were in America. And she had this really abusive husband, man, you know, and my poor darling mama bear. And I often wonder what life would have been like if we were in Australia, if we'd stayed in America. But anyways, everybody, I just want to say God's blessings is, what I know is God loves us when we accept our mistakes, not sins, mistakes. So it's like when we're humble and we go, I am imperfect, I keep making mistakes, please forgive me. Please help me forgive myself. I forgive me. You know, please forgive me. I forgive you. I love you. You know, I love you. I love me. And one of the things I'm really struggling with is when people do not see me for my full value, and I think, oh, what is it about me that I'm projecting, that I'm still getting people to not see me for who I actually really am. However, I also know that the people who are judging me, criticizing me, putting me down, berating me, hating me, actually what's actually happened is they can't stand my light. They can't stand my love. They can't stand my strength. They are threatened to the nth degree of what I represent, which is healing and truth and authenticity and courage and resilience and humility and just a burning desire to be the best I can and not be someone who creates impact on another or who continually makes my life harder by comparing myself to someone who might look like they're doing great, but maybe that person has no authenticity or no depth. So I've come to realise that some of these people that I was comparing myself to, there's a possibility these people don't even know how to feel a true deep feeling. So I would rather be me with my sort of times of very deep despair, because guess what is the other end of deep despair? True, just gotta fix my back up, hang on, ouch. True, unadulterated joy and true connection to the true beauty of all that life is, and true connection to all that God is, true connection to the full intensity of God's immense love, the immense miracle of nature and life. No one can get to this place of true appreciation, acceptance and joy without feeling the equal element of despair and shadow. And, so, everyone, I'm doing really great. I'm actually doing really great. So, I'm in despair because I just wanted to show the garden and wrap this up. But I'm in despair, of course, because obviously my husband isn't here in this house with me right now. And Christmas is just around the corner. And, that's all very sad, the timing of everything and the fact that it happened at all, okay? However, I know God is protecting us and God has our backs and God is guiding us. And I know, unfortunately, that my husband and I, with our trauma bond and our deep love for each other, I don't think you can have such deep love for someone without also feeling deep fear of what that deep love brings up. So I have never in my whole life loved an adult male to the level that I love my husband. And I do not believe that he has loved, I know he's told me, he has not loved anyone to the level that he loves me. Now, he grew up in the orphanage and I grew up with two parents who were unable to love. So we both grew up without love. We both grew up without physical contact. To really love another, when you have grown up in an environment with no love, subconsciously fear will always come up. Subconsciously, there's the fear of vulnerability, the fear of intimacy, the fear of really letting go, because what happens if you really loosen up and you really open up and then you lose that? Will you die? So my husband definitely has that experience of being too fearful of opening up too deeply, and he's slowly loving more and more and more. For example, a year and a half ago, there would be no holding hands in public. There'd be definitely no kissing in public. And now he happily holds me and kisses me in public. Happily. Like sometimes he was like in public. Like what a and he was squeezing and go, I love you. Like in public. In public. So this is big, everyone. This is huge. And for me, my learning has to be about, I've definitely got major trust issues around being betrayed and abandoned. Like, I really have fear that I'm going to lose everything that's good. It's a really subconscious fear. So what I look for is evidence of where the person's not going to, where I'm going to be betrayed. So, for example, this thing that set off this last breakdown with my husband and I was, his sister has the grandmother's mini grand piano that Anthony used to play. Now, Anthony's the musical one in the family, right? And it's a beautiful old grand piano that was even older than his grandma even. So it's a really old piano, and Anthony was really excited when his sister offered it to him. Now, the thing that really pissed me off was that Jean Jones offered it to her daughter first, who's not musical, then Anthony's brother, who's not musical, and then Anthony, who's the musical one. So Anthony doesn't see the barb in that. He doesn't think so, and she gave him 1 week notice to organise a removalist, whereas everyone else had however much notice. So Jean really didn't want Anthony to get the piano, because if she did, she would have. But she was like, well, if you don't take it, it's going to charity. So she actually had the decency to actually ask Anthony if he wanted it before she gave it to charity, but she gave him very little notice to get it. Now, in respect, that was her grandma's piano. Anthony's the musical one that they all proudly proclaim. Oh, he was an opera singer. Oh, he was in this. Oh, he was in that. Well, if you think he's so musical and so amazing, why did you almost not give him the grandma's piano? So I didn't even bring that up with Anthony, because I thought, don't even want to go there with him. But the whole piano thing was like, okay, great, we're getting the piano. I've always wanted a piano. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So then we organised a removalist. And then his sister decides to contribute $400. Like, great, good on you. And at that point, I actually thought, maybe she's starting to honour the marriage. And this is where it gets really weird. Then she says to Anthony, well, I'm selling my apartment. So he had all this on loudspeaker, so I heard everything, right? And they never acknowledge I exist. It's all about Anthony. Anthony doesn't have a wife. Anthony's a single guy. It's just him, right? I don't exist. Like, they won't acknowledge I exist. And Anthony, when he talks to them, doesn't acknowledge that I exist, right? So this is a barb for me, because I've been saying to him, this has got to be dealt with. Like, this, until we deal with this, our marriage is always going to have problems. And why should it matter so much? You think, why should it matter so much what his in-laws think about me? I said to Anthony, I do not want anyone in our life unless they honour and respect our marriage. God wouldn't want that, I'm sure. So we need to be very careful of who we have in our life. Now, the only people that we still have in our life that don't honour our marriage is your brother and your sister. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to step up and get them to honour me as your wife and honour the marriage and honour that you're married? What are you going to do about it? So, of course, he did nothing. So this was an underlying thing that we never healed and never unpacked, which, of course, then blew up. And when his sister then said to him, and this is on loudspeaker, so I heard the whole thing, she goes, I've got all, I'm downsizing, so what is it that you need? Not what is it that you and Nadina need, what is it that you need? And he goes, and then he goes, well, do you need gardening stuff? And Nancy's like, sort of answering, well, what do you have? And she goes, well, I have a wheelbarrow. Now, I'm the one that does all the hard work. I'm the one that does the gardening, and I fucking need a wheelbarrow. Okay? I need a wheelbarrow. But we are on such a limited budget. We've got this like tray thing, right? And it works okay, but it's like a one handle thing. It's like a big tray with two wheels, and then a bar, and then a little handle that I hold in the middle. Now, wheelbarrows, you got two handles and one wheel, so you can traverse it through rough terrains, rah-rah, doesn't hurt my shoulder, rah-rah. He then says to Jean, is it a sturdy wheelbarrow? And I thought, so it doesn't matter if it's sturdy or not. I need a wheelbarrow. Like, this would be great. She's just going to give it to charity. She's got a skip bin, right? So she's going to throw it all. She's not going to give it to charity. She's just going to throw it in a bloody bin. She's so selfish and so greedy and so rich that she can't even see that the stuff could go to charity or back out of recycling. Said, no, go put it in a skip bin, put it in landfill. So anyways, Anthony's like, is it sturdy? And she goes, well, it's pretty small. He goes, well, no, we need a sturdy wheelbarrow. And I'm thinking, I just need a wheelbarrow. I just need a wheelbarrow, full stop. Because every time I use this tray thing, we have it, when it hits a branch or it hits a rock or it really hurts my shoulder. But if you're wheeling one wheelbarrow, you've got a lot of control. And I felt this anger come up, and it was unjustified, out of balance, and I could, Nadina, control it. But I felt really violated that, one, he couldn't see my need, even though I'd been saying for ages we need a wheelbarrow. Two, hang on a minute, because then they continue the conversation. And she goes, well, why don't you come and have a look at what I have? And he goes, yeah, okay, I will come down and have a rumble through your jumble. And then, and I remember thinking, hang on a minute, he's going to go down there and rumble through her jumble. Now, I know that she's moving to a new apartment. She's going to get rid of everything, and she's probably going to buy brand new stuff everywhere. And we need sheets. The amount of stuff we need is incredible, right? And I'm the housekeeper. I'm the interior designer. I'm the wife. I'm the woman. I'm artistic. I'm the one that's making a home. I know what we need. And I know that Anthony has probably a problem with charity, right? I don't. So I would have gone through everything and taken everything that we actually need. And she's just going to throw this stuff in a skip bin. I wouldn't have had any embarrassment about taking what we need. Like, for example, I need linen. I need linen for my guest bed. And I can't afford to buy linen, okay? So the conversation with Anthony and Jean continued. And not once did they mention that he had a wife, and not once did they mention that it wasn't just Anthony, it was Anthony and another. And not once did they mention that, I thought, why are you guys doing this? Why is Anthony doing this so I can hear it? Like, can't he realise this is a barb for me, that they talk as if I don't exist? Like, why is it they think they can do it? And I said, Nadine, just handle this energy row up. So that was the very beginning of when things started going bad. So I basically said to him, when you go through your rumble and the jumble at Jean's, what are you actually going to be looking for? And he goes, I don't know, whatever I see that I might want to get. And I said, but do you even know what it is that we need? Because I can tell you right now, Jean is going to have a lot of stuff that I have been wanting to buy that we haven't had the money to buy. Now, I should have been invited to go through her stuff. It's my house as well as Anthony's. We're a married couple. I'm the wife. I'm the homekeeper. I'm the interior designer. I'm the organizer. So why am I being excluded from potentially, a treasure trove, Why am I being excluded from it? Oh, because Jean doesn't like me, because she doesn't want Anthony to be married to me. And Anthony can't even step up and say, all right, my wife and I will come and look through your stuff to see what we need for our home. That's the crux of it, everyone. And when I spoke this to Anthony, he couldn't get it. He couldn't understand why I would be so upset about this. And then I ended up saying, I don't want any of her stuff in our house. Like, none of it. None of it. I don't want a single thing of hers in our house. Yeah, and then this resulted in potentially not even getting the piano, because obviously this built up into a situation where I stopped speaking my truth and I started getting very reactive about my red button trauma around the sister and her lack of respect for me and Anthony's my marriage. And then, of course, Anthony left a week and a half ago, and the piano, I think, was getting delivered on the 20th, which is in 3 days. And I was really looking forward to it. I've always wanted a grand piano. I love playing piano. And so it's like, shot myself in the foot with the piano, shot myself in the foot with the working out how to do healthy dynamics with my husband over an issue that's a real red barb. But at the same time now, I have to be aware that it takes two to tango, and he also needs to step up. He needs to have the commitment to the communication. It's not just me. And so that's where I forgive myself. And as the result of all this is, yes, until such time as my husband can step up and honour me as his wife and declare me as his wife to everyone, not just the people that he knows loves me, but to the people that he knows has issues with me. And they only have issues with me because I took Anthony away from his small life where it was slow suicide life. That's the only reason they have issues with me. And they think I'm a gold digger. All right? They think I'm just out for his money. And they think I'm a narcissist. And they think I'm controlling him. So it's a very distorted viewpoint of who I am, which he allows them to continue to believe. and he allows this dynamic with them to perpetuate. And that our therapist, we did 2 counselling sessions with Monique from Song of the Heart, and she's saying, look, it's between Anthony and his family. And I'm going, well, how is it just between Anthony and his family when it has a direct impact on Anthony and I? Because when they ring him, he uses their words to me. Like, you know, the other day he said to me, I'm a prisoner in this house. Oh, I have no freedom. And that's his brother's words. Okay? That's his brother's words. So how is it that his relationship with his family have no respect for me, no respect for our marriage, and no respect for Anthony, because they don't trust that he can make decisions? They think he's so foolish that he's manipulated by me. They have no respect for him. So how is it that that dysfunctional relationship is not something that, like, I don't understand why it is that it's just between him and his family when it directly impacts our marriage? So this is something I'm having a real issue with, and I'm having a real hard time forgiving these in-laws. And I also have a hard time that my husband keeps running back to them. So when this last thing happened, rather than ring up our counsellor, or rather than hug me, or rather than step up and be committed to the marriage, he chose to run away back to his family, who he knows will do everything in their power to separate us. And that separation will just mean his demise. He will be dead within years upon us separating, because I'm basically his life force. So it's through me that he is living, because it's through me that he's learning to grow and be strong. And it's this twin flame thing. It's like we're 2 whole people, but together we soar. Like through him, I get balance and boundaries and comfort, and I feel stronger to do big things. Through me, he gets inspiration, motivation, zest, you know. So together we're really good. We're really good. And everyone can see this, except for when the dysfunction kicks in, which just needs outside support. And that's why God, this time, like the next time my husband comes back and we create the process of reconciliation, this time we're going to do it formally with very structured outside support, and we're going to do it with God. And as a wife, I'm going to be much more stronger about what it is that we need to have a functional, healthy relationship as 2 wounded people with some external dysfunctional interactions. And I've learnt so much yet again. So the last separation taught me so much about my self-resilience and my ability to survive. And oh my gosh, Medina, you are amazing. And this separation is teaching me about autonomy and that's and learning more about the fact that I went into a area of expectation of unmet childhood needs again. And I just got to live life like me, living me and whoever's around me. And I need to be responsible for telling the truth at all times and declaring what I need, not expecting another to parent me. It's got to be me that parents myself. I must parent myself, and I must declare in full honesty what it is that I need, and then have interpersonal relationships where I'm creating co-regulation. So I'm letting people know what it is that I need from them to help me be the better person I can, and me bravely step in without pride and without tit-for-tat competitive. So stepping up, growing out of teenage years and growing into maturity. So that's what I'm doing, loves. Now, I'm going to end this live with just showing you what Brad and I will be working on today. So we're going to finish off leveling the cement floor here and putting the tiles down. We might not get time to do the tiles, but we're definitely going to level the... Now, excuse this room because my cute little Xenobina. There's little Xenobina. She did a poo in here, which I've got to clean up. But see, we're also going to finish this room off in the sense of we're going to sand this back. I don't know, can you see the... Yeah. So we're going to sand that back, put a top coat on it, and then sand that top coat off. And then this room will get painted And as I said in my other live, I'm just going to sand this back, which I'll do on my own. I think Brad and I won't have time to do this. Sand that back, and then I'm just going to paint this. I'm not going to have it as jarrah anymore. We decided the wood's not good enough. So that's going to be painted. That's going to get painted. Not with Brad here, but we're going to finish off the plastering, because he's got this beautiful plastering tool that sands and sucks in the plaster at the same time, so the plaster doesn't go everywhere. It's quite amazing, actually. And what else we're gonna do, which is gonna change everything, because every time you do anything, it always changes. So what we're gonna do as well, probably early tomorrow morning or tomorrow night, early tomorrow morning or this afternoon, we are going to cut my pavers for here, like what I showed you the other day. See, there's that little tray back. I was thinking that's the thing I have to use as a wheelbarrow, and these things get stuck on rocks, and this thing wobbles really hard on my shoulder. I really need a wheelbarrow. But this is what Brad and I are going to do. We're going to cut these pavers. So I need help cutting these pavers. So I'm going to finish this path off, which comes around here. It's going to go around here, and then I can finish gardening this area. And that, my loves, is exciting because this is going to be my therapy space. Well, I told you the other day, I'm going to turn that area there into some lawn, put a bench there. So this whole front area is going to be finalised, because I started this so long ago. And it's just going to be so amazing to tidy it up. And obviously this area here is a disaster zone, which I've shown you guys many, many times over. And that's why I say, hey, if you want to help, come and help. Because I need some help. But this thing here, oh my good lordy, lordy, lord. So, yeah, that's a big thing, my portico. But I'll do that later. I'm not stressed about the steps right now, but getting these pathways done, because I can do the steps on my own, that's cement and mortar and rah-rah, that's my expertise, right? The cutting of the pavers is something I find hard, and Brad's got the paving cutting tool. So it's a sniffle. So that's going to make that simple. And that's going to get that front area finished. Hang on. So we're going to do that this afternoon or tomorrow. So that's exciting, everyone. We're going to finish the bathroom levelling. Even if we don't get the tiling done, at least it'll be levelled. And then I can get a tiler in later. We're going to finish off the plastering in the library, which means I can finish painting that. We're going to finish the plastering in the bedroom, which means I can wallpaper that. So I'll be doing that all on my own after Brad leaves, okay? We are going to finish the retick, and which is just quite a big, insane scene at the moment. Yeah. And then the next thing I'm going to be doing is, I'll show you what I'm up to. This fence. So I'm going to bring a fence from around the chook pen, so around the peppy tree, and this is something I'm going to get Fresh Start guys to help me out. So I'm going to have a fence coming around and around. I borrowed that wheelbarrow from Catherine. That's what I need. That's a cheap wheelbarrow. So I'm going to come around here, fence it across like this, and around like here, and then I'm going to have the fence coming down along here, and then I'm going to have like a gate here, and I'm going to fence off all there. Now the reason why I'm going to do this, see little Alvin, when you open that back gate, he started to try to run out, and the other day he did get out, and $130 came back from the pound. So what I was thinking was, when I'm not here, I leave them on the outside of the fence and they run around and they go crazy, and most of the garden's on the inside. And then, because I keep digging up my garden, and then when we're here and we're going in and out of that gate, we put them on the inside. And then I was also thinking, I'm going to put it around the front of the house, like fence off all around the front of the house, so, and open up the side of the house so they can go from all around the back here, all around the side and all around the front, so they can patrol the house, front all the way to the back. So this is all exciting. Yeah, and look at this this is all the shed stuff that I have to organise. I've got that stuff there, stuff in that cupboard behind those plants. And what I need to do is organise the shed stuff in containers and everything, and I'm going to put it in this shelf, the blue shelf, and up here, and this shed's going to be so beautifully organised. Yeah, and that's another thing that happened, everyone, just to show you that day, Tuesday last week, when everything went really bad. What actually happened was I was standing here on a ladder painting this up high with enamel, turf-based enamel paint on a ladder on a hot day. My head was up near the roof. I was holding onto the ladder because I had vertigo, and I had to paint in certain spots, and I was always nearly fell off the ladder 8 times. I kept holding I could tell I was falling, I'd fall back, but because I was holding onto the ladder and I had to paint in a certain way, I was able to grab the ladder with my other hand, right? So that's what I was doing on Tuesday, right? And Anthony comes in, and then he says, are you painting those shells as well? These are melamine, right? This is metal. This had rust on it, and I rust-proofed it and enamel. And then he innocently said that about the melamine. But look, I've got melamine shells over here as well, and I've got a whole house to paint. And again, I fucking just went, no. Like, and that's actually when it started as well. So it was a whole week and a half of build-up, and there's just so much that you go, well, why couldn't I have said, wrong paint, not necessary. Why is it that we react so quickly? It's a red button. So I looked at this YouTube thing last night, and there's these red button modes, and there's certain things that really set us off. And that day, on that ladder, doing that paint, my red button was, hang on a minute, what about offering me some water? Hang on a minute, what about acknowledging what I am doing? Hang on a minute, what about acknowledging that I'm painting with enamel-based turps on a hot day with vertigo? So it was a real trigger for me, that lack of awareness and appreciation of what I was doing under what circumstances. And yeah, I just shut down. And that's where I'm going to keep working on these areas where that's an area of truth. So rather than going, no, I should have said, oh, please, like, for goodness sakes, it's not even important right now, rah. That's the truth. I'm learning about truth can still be narky. You can still go, no, I don't really, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's still the truth. But you're saying what's actually what you're really thinking. So what I'm really thinking, I actually say, so the person actually knows what I'm thinking, so they don't have to guess. And then I can say, really, what I really need right now is appreciation. Like, how hard is it when someone's feeling unappreciated? Is it to say, rather than go, they don't appreciate me, how hard is it to actually say, hey, I actually don't feel appreciated right now, or hey, I'm feeling really sad right now because I don't feel like you've really seen what I'm doing. Like, that's what I'm learning, everyone. And I think that's a good lesson for us all, because most of the misunderstandings that happen in our lives, I believe, happen because we feel something and we don't tell the person what we're feeling. We're sort of hoping they'll just work it out or guess it. And then we have these subconscious feelings of, why can't they give me what I need? Or why can't they work it out what it is that I need? Or why is it not obvious for them what's the situation? But really, why can't we just say to the person, hey, I feel blah, blah, blah. And we're not saying, when you do blah, 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 I feel blah, blah, blah. Or I'm feeling blah, blah, blah because of blah, blah, blah. You just say, I feel blah, 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 full stop. I'm feeling unappreciated right now, full stop. If I'd said those words, guys, my husband would still be here in this house with me right now, and we would have the bloody mini grand coming on the 20th, and the last week and a half wouldn't have been traumatic. Obviously, I wouldn't have learnt all these lessons in the last week and a half. But why has it taken me so long to learn these lessons? It's crazy. And this is where we must be gentle with ourselves at all times, because at least I'm finally learning it now. At least I'm learning. And I'm premenopausal. My hormones are all out of whack. It's really, really hard to be self-contained where my hormones are all up and down and everywhere, and there's moments of insanity. And major body fatigue and blah, blah. It's a really hard time premenopause, and that's something that very few people talk about, how difficult the premenopausal journey is for women, okay? We do not talk about it enough. It is a horrendous roller coaster ride, and we must be so gentle with women from 40 to 50 or 40 to 60, and we all need to be more honest in courage, in bravery, that we deserve to be honest. We deserve to tell people the truth. We deserve to tell people when I'm scared, sad. I'm going to leave it at that. Mwah. So lots of loves, everyone. And in God's grace, we keep traversing these terrains. And in God's grace, we do need to learn from our mistakes and not keep repeating them, yes. However, sometimes it takes a while to it takes a while to learn a lesson, because there's different levels and layers. It might seem like the same lesson, but it's actually not. There's different, it might seem like the same thing happened. Like, for example, I reacted in self-harm and then reacted in, aggression to my husband in absolute rah mode. That might be a repeat pattern, but what was the underlying reason for it? It was a different issue. It was a different topic. It was a different layer. So it's not necessarily a repeat of exactly the same thing. Okay, if someone drives and they drive home and they crash their car, and then 2 weeks later they drive on the same road and they crash their car again, and blah, blah, blah. And they do it again. They drive and they crash their car. That's exactly the same thing causing the same outcome, and it's not a new layer. Okay, so that's different. But if you go out for dinner and you have a few drinks and you're driving your car home and you have a car accident, shit, that's scary, right? And then the next time you're out, you go, okay, I'm not going to drink this time. I'm only going to have one drink. I'm having my dinner, I'm going to drink heaps of water, and you have one drink. But unfortunately, that one drink is an alcohol that you've never had before, and it's like the impact of 7 drinks, right? And you go home and you crash your car. That's not you repeating the same lesson. It looks like it's the same outcome, but actually you didn't do exactly the same thing. You deliberately made sure you didn't repeat a pattern, even though the outcome looks the same. You didn't deliberately do it, and you did not repeat a pattern. And this is where I think we need to be very kind to ourselves. If it looks like the outcome's exactly the same, look at what really happened prior. Because if we didn't repeat a pattern, then we're not being stupid. We haven't not learnt, but there's just another layer. There's another lesson to it. There's another area of learning, and we've got to be so gentle and kind to ourselves. We've got to be so, like God, so gracious and so patient and understanding that we are imperfect, and that our life on earth as humans actually is about learning. That is actually what our whole purpose of being human on planet Earth is. So that we can actually transcend to do, God's full will, which is just love, just being from a place of love at all times, love and kindness and honesty. So, yeah, that's it, peoples. That's it, my little loves. And also, I just want to share with you that I had YouTube on before. I'll show you. I have this trance music on. That's actually the visuals, but with that, there's trance music playing. And before I had it up really loud, I was dancing, woo-hoo, just whoop, whoop, whoop. And that's lovely. So anyways, life is good. Keep trusting everyone. If you're having anything similar to what I'm going through, I hope you get something out of these vlogs. I am going to set up a proper YouTube channel, and, get it all set up, the computer and the mics and the bloody, blah, blah, and get sponsorship and simplify it and shorten it and keep it constrained. I'll have a timer, and I'm also going to have notes, and I'll have homework and blah, 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 blah. And this is actually part of what I'm supposed to be doing. Now, I very clearly get told by God or angels on a regular basis to do vlogs. So if any of you think this is about wanting attention or me being a narcissist, which I know John McLeod thinks I'm a narcissist, like my beautiful husband's brother thinks I'm a narcissist, right? And so this is actually, and I've actually had to delve into that because I had a few people say, oh, you're a narcissist, like including my friend Brad ages ago, and he apologized, he said, you are so non-narcissist. He's worked out that he's actually got narcissism behaviors. And everyone who has heard of, knows of, or blah, blah, John McLeod, knows that he's actually the narcissist. And unfortunately, my husband has learnt narcissist behaviours because of being under that. So this is a scary thing to be dealing with narcissism. And it's like a lot of narcissists like to throw out that the empathic person is a narcissist to try to disempower them. So when we're really empathic and we want to tell the full truth and we're very raw with our emotions and this and that, rah, rah, I've come to realise sometimes it can look like narcissism because we're trying to challenge someone to look at their behaviours. We're very open and honest, and that can look like we're looking for attention. And I can actually see how and why. Oh, and sorry, when we get really raw and really reactive, we hurt people, that can look like we're deliberately trying to hurt another. But it's actually not the truth. There's no deliberately trying to hurt another. It's accidental trauma response impact, which we are always deeply remorseful about because it fucking burns our soul with deep shame that we could do that again to others and to ourselves. So if anyone calls you a narcissist and you believe that you may be an empath, I would love you to really delve into that journey of understanding that highly empathic people get very overwhelmed very easily when there's too much turbulence going on around them, or if they are around narcissist people, and we can display elements of, okay, we all have elements of narcissism in us because we need that to stay alive. That's our ego, right? We need to care that we dress, have food, and we always want to look nice, right? Well, not always, but it's important that we want to present ourselves to our best ability, right? So that's healthy narcissism. So this word narcissism has just sort of gone mad lately. And a lot of people love to label and brand people as narcissists. So be mindful of that if you're called a narcissist often, and I've had a few people call me narcissist in the last few years, and if this is the bottom line for me, what I've learned, if I'm coming from a place of pure heart, if I'm coming from a place of wanting to do God's will, if I'm coming from a humble place of wanting to actually express myself authentically and honestly and rawly in hopes that someone, to get the support that I need, of course, to stay alive, because the world wants me, needs me, and deserves me, and God wants me to stay alive. My friends want me to stay alive. So that's one side of it, self-sustaining side. But the other side is I have something to offer. I've had a really, really hard life. When I write my books and I get my professional vlogs going on and I declare my full story to the world, most of you will be horrified to the nth degree and wonder how I even survived even 1 second. Now, I've come to realise through many, many people telling me over and over again that my resilience, my strength, my awareness, my talent is just phenomenal. It's through the roof. It's something else. So I've always had God and the angels with me to help sustain me. But what this body has had to endure is just through the roof phenomenal. And as you can see, I'm quite healthy. I'm 52, and a lot of people think I'm a lot younger. Unless I told you my trauma story, you wouldn't know that I had had such insane abuse in my life, because most people seem to think that I'm really kind and friendly and funny. And so there's this joy in there, this joy of life, because I've been working with my shadow for so long. And the only thing that's really despaired me and creates for me feel suicidal is when the shadow still presents itself and I go, oh my gosh, I thought I had healed this by now. I thought it was gone by now. I thought blah, 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 blah. Since I was 15, I've been working on this. Why haven't I dealt with it yet? But when we are traumatized to the level that I am, it is actually ridiculously difficult to heal. And without pure surrender to God's grace and without pure faith and trust that the journey is perfect, and we can't compare and judge timelines and time frames, and we really need to let go of we need to understand that, yeah, okay, we need to always be working from a place of love and kindness, compassion, honesty, humility, bravery, faith, trust, and surrender, yes. And we often slip out of that, and that's where we make the journey take longer. And I will admit to the nth degree that I have gone off track so many times and forgotten to put God first, and I've gone into ego too quickly, or I've gone into reaction too quickly. And it's a skill set, I think, to learn a habit to really constantly go to God first, and how to withdraw from, pull away from conflict, to take time out and to do meditation, prayer. That's a big lesson that I'm learning. My reactivity, like to learn how to control my body enough to pull myself away from a situation that's actually triggering me to be my monster, my demonic child self, and not putting myself in a situation where I've got support, kindness, love, and comfort and safety. And I have to forgive myself for that. But this is every time I relearn the lesson, I go deeper and deeper and deeper into my journey with God, and my journey with accepting where the triggers are and how to pull back quicker. So, and I am 52. I'm still relatively young, and I have had an extraordinarily traumatic life. So in that regard, I'm giving myself some allowances and a lot of forgiveness, because God forgives me and my friends forgive me, and I know that with God's support my husband will forgive me, and we can then move on to the next level as a committed couple, doing the work that we're destined to do. So anyways, I have rambled a bit, and when I do my professional vlogs, I'll have notes and I'll have my timer, and I'll have some talisman thingies around to remind me to stay on track. But this was just a ramble. But when I'm professional, I'll keep it within the 40-minute mark, or probably the 30-minute mark. I think it's probably better, because I know a lot of my vlogs seem to go for 1 hour, 1.5 hours. But it's like I've just got so much to share. I've got so much to share, and I just want to share and share and share and share and share. Oh, and that's why this book is going to be amazing, because I'll be able to actually just bloop it all out. Anyways, yeah, I'll definitely leave it at that, my loves. And thank you for, again, for listening, watching, caring. And yeah, and let's, life's blessings all. See ya. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday.